Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Christy Redefined. I thought I would just kind of give an update with everything and talk a little bit about giving up and having hope and just noticing some things about myself this week where I'm a little bit, well, goodness knows, in the state of the country, the United States is really horrible. And so in the middle of a illegal war, and many people are, we've got now 13, I believe it's 13 soldiers that came back to their families, in caskets. And we have hundreds of other American soldiers, military members that are hurt, on top of some horrible, corruption that's happening in our government, on top of everything else. I mean, ICE is still, and now they're in Vermont doing horrible things. We don't have any clue what's happening in those detention centers. That Dilley and the other one in Minnesota. I mean, the stories that are coming out of there of people who are surviving and getting out they're freaking inhumane conditions. And has to be stopped. There's just a lack of humanity, and they're really violating international crimes of humanity in those ICE detention centers, ICE concentration camps. So the state of our world, giving up, and what to do. So I learned something about myself this semester. I am still taking Portuguese 4 times a week, 4 hours a day, at a wonderful program called the Instituto de Cultura y Língua Português, and I suck. Straight up, this language is kicking my ass, and so I want to be honest about that. I teach English online, and I love doing that, and I think I'm good at that. Business English to business to business, European business people. So I think I'm good at that. But learning a new language, learning Portuguese, for me, I just can't progress. I am at B2 level. I took it last semester. I'm repeating it again this semester, and I suck equally as bad as last semester. I have learned virtually nothing. My professors have told me, they try to put it gently, but they tell me that when I speak Portuguese that I sound more like B1, and not like B1 graduated, but like in the middle of B1 rather than the beginning or middle of B2. So I've decided that moving forward into more academic Portuguese knowledge is just not for me. I have a lot going on in my life, and I just can't progress. I try to memorize all 90 of the verbal conjugations for every single verb they have, and I can't do it. The verb endings just won't stay in my head. I keep trying to memorize things, and it just doesn't work anymore. So I am going to just keep going to school, but I'm going to go backwards. So I'm in B2 now. I'll probably just barely pass it. And then I'm going all the way back to A2. And I'm going to repeat A2 for at least a semester, maybe a whole year. Then I'll go into B1, do at least 1 semester, but probably a whole year. And maybe I'll try B2 again, maybe. I don't know. But I can't progress. It's just not working for me. And so I read children's books. I watch Portuguese podcasts, namely Portuguese with Leo and Practice Portuguese, Sounds of Portuguese, and it just won't stay. So I am learning to accept my limitations, and I'm kind of giving up in that regard because there's too much else for me to do. That being said, I am actually progressing in my work with Democrats abroad, and also with Amped Up, Americans in Portugal United in Protest. So I stay super active in both of those groups. In fact, I have joined the Progressives Democrats Abroad Caucus and am very active there. In fact, we're talking about maybe doing a digital workshop for progressives, Progressive Caucus of Democrats Abroad, how to stay connected and resist from abroad. And doing it far away. And I've gotten my own strategies on how to fight against this regime from here. And I do it every day. In fact, I spend probably 3 hours, literally, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating, probably about 3 hours a day on resistance work, probably more. I should be studying Portuguese probably, but instead I am doing resistance activities like writing the DNC, writing my senators and my representative, posting about important elections, down ballot elections, state elections, and special elections to Congress. And so I do a lot of posting on my social media platforms about that. And I stay really busy. In fact, on Monday, I was asked to speak at a pop-up event combining, here in Lisbon, combining art exhibitions with American connection back to the mainland and how to maintain hope in these very dark times. And so I'm one of the speakers of that event. And then I just have a lot of organizing and meetings next week for the No Kings protest that is going to be here in Lisbon. I'll be emceeing that event, and I'm super proud of that. It'll be the second one that I've emceed. The last one I emceed, and I also spoke. But this time I said, you know what, emceeing is enough. I'll let other people speak. They have important things to say as well. And so I'll be just emceeing that event. It's going to be No Kings here in Lisbon at the Praça do Comércio, or Terreiro do Paço, as it's also called by the locals. And it's going to be sign making at 2 p.m. and actual protest starting at 3 sharp. Our stage manager is very strict about about how much time we all have, and so a lot of organizing for that, a lot. So I'll be putting up posters for the event in the area of Chiado and other areas in Lisbon to advertise that. I've posted it on my Instagram page. I'm talking about it here on my channel. So hopefully we get a big turnout. I think we will, given the huge illegal war that's happening right now. Sadly, there was an agreement between Portugal and the U.S. where the U.S. has military planes on one of the islands, the Azores, one of the islands in the Azores islands here in Portugal, and so they are launching some airstrikes from a Portuguese landing strip. And I'm sure that there are some Portuguese citizens that are upset about that. So there may be a lot more people at the protest than we expect. So in regard to not giving up, I can never give up because I love the Constitution. I love what our country stands for. Now that I understand more about the dark money and the dark forces, the Epstein files, the Epstein class, and who really runs the United States, I still have hope that we can get closer back to what our forefathers wanted for this country. You know, having grown up in Philadelphia, 6 blocks? I was born 6 blocks from Constitution Hall, Independence Mall, Independence Park. I was born at Thomas Jefferson University Hospital, which is right there in the center of Philly, right where the Ben Franklin House is, and all of our forefathers were when they were writing the Constitution. I walked by Constitution Hall all the time, and the Liberty Bell all the time. And so it means a lot to me what our country was founded upon, the principles of it. What it's turned into is a complete oligarchy and an oligarchy slash, yeah, plutocracy slash, I I forget the name of it, kleptocracy. It's where the people running the country have no freaking clue what's going on and they have no qualifications to run the country. That's what's happening in our country. And it's become just a dictatorship, plutocracy, authoritarianism, etc., etc., fascism. So, that being said, I still have hope that if the midterms are not fucked with too bad, that we'll definitely regain power in the House. We might regain power in the Senate if midterms can occur, and then Donald Trump will be held to account. He won't be able to do anything because he won't have any congressional approval. And then we can start ousting a lot of his regime and get him out of their offices. Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, RFK Jr., the stupid clown running our education department, or the clown running our labor department, the clown running our State Department. Get Stephen Miller, prosecute him, and get him the hell out of there, that racist freaking Nazi. And then try to get some semblance of our country back. I'm a progressive, so I don't just believe in getting our country back. I believe in ending Citizens United, getting dark money out of our government, and enacting universal health care, a universal basic income for our families, universal child care, universal women's health, and get rid of any backward steps of DEI. We need to put DEI programs back in place, and we need to rehire all of our government service employees that are critical. USAID, our State Department got decimated, FBI decimated, CIA decimated. We'll be lucky if there isn't a major terrorist attack. And we're not talking 911. Probably it'll be a digital AI attack or attack on our electricity and power sources in the U.S. Because once you knock that out, we're incapable of doing anything. And so I think there's going to be terrorism in the U.S. There's nobody watching the House. There's nobody watching the House. You know that the horror movie where the calls are coming in and then she realizes, the police are tracing the calls and then they realize that the calls are coming from inside the House? That's what's happening in the U.S. The calls are coming from inside the House. So I still have family back home. I have my dear friends back home on Maui, in Philly. So I worry about everybody. Of course, I worry about my son. And I would love for him to be willing to leave the U.S. and bring him over here to Portugal or bring him anywhere else. But he's barely speaking to me. He's emailing me once every 7 or 8 weeks, which I should be grateful for. But how to have hope? Let's put it this way. I have a tiny bit of hope because I know the tide is turning. His Dump's popularity is down to 33%, which are the maggots that are left. There's some hope. There's a blue wave in all the local and state elections that are happening, so there's some hope. But I can't give up because my family and friends are back in the U.S., so I will never give up, and I will fight for our democracy until my last dying breath. And I'll leave you with that thought. Thanks for tuning in to Christy Redefined. Hit subscribe if you want to hear more about my story here in Lisbon.